it.
Right.
So any which ways.
A proton.
It charges it to highly positive protons.
Could the military use that?
I'm sure they could.
Proton gun?
I'm sure they could, but it would probably to charge your ship.
Well,
They ought to hold their ship.
What if you get shot with a proton gun? I'm sure it would affect you.
I'm sure. Well, yeah.
Of course, it'd have to be highly concentrated because sunlight's not going to kill you very fast.
Well, yeah,
Well, eventually.
if it's high enough. So any which ways.
Basically a laser. That's what you're doing.
Yeah.
Proton gun.
And they have a 1 milliwatt laser to shoot at you anyways.
Right.
So, now, this charges the tethers to highly charged positive protons. So now, the sun comes along and hits you with
Well, the
positive.
sun is staying still.
Well, no, it moves.
Well,
Did you
relatively.
Okay, so the sun discharges protons.
Right.
Positive
rays
protons.
comes at you.
Yes.
That's what's coming at you.
The positive protons come towards you, which...
Protons are sunlight, by the way.
Yes.
In case you're
So
wondering.
everyone knows that positive and positive don't act good together. They push each other away. So as the sun pushes their protons towards you, they react with the protons you've made and push you along. They said after about 1 year of flight using this, it can get to 19 miles per second.
That's really fast.
That's extremely fast. That's even faster than the plasma engine. But of course, the plasma engine will get you to Mars in 39 days. This probably would not. Because it needs time to build up.
Right, you need to build up speed.
Yep. So, that's done with propulsion engines.
Okay.
So, we're on to shielding. We were at shielding.
Yeah,
I guess we
We're back
got
to shielding.
backtracked here, Brian. I'm sorry. Since you ain't here, you can't stop us. So, shielding. So, we're using aluminum foam. What is another type of shielding could we use?
Magnetic.
Magnetic. Just like the Earth.
Just like the Earth.
So, our Earth's core...
Well, the reason why we don't die from solar radiation is because the Earth has its own magnetic sphere. Magnetosphere.
Magnetosphere.
Magnetics. Anyway.
Any which ways.
Because the core is a lot of molten iron, you know.
Which rotates one way around another core that rotates the other way.
Creating a nice little protection for us.
Yeah. So
anyway, but if you want to, yeah, well, you can explain it.
So as one core rotates one way, the other core rotates the other way. Them being a metal called iron mostly, iron, cobalt, nickel.
Yeah.
They interact with each other kind of like the rotors on any electric motor. So as the rotors on the electric motor rotate, they are actually producing a magnetic force. Either... Hold on, let me rephrase this. It's not on a motor, it's more like a generator. But both same thing.
Yeah.
So as the middle is spinning, its magnetic is cutting through the other magnetic. It's kind of hard to explain, I guess.
Basically, it bounces off. It makes.
Well, as they rotate, they cut through each other's magnetic field, which makes the even bigger one. So, good enough. I'll have to look it up.
Anyway, so that's what protects us on
Yes.
Earth. So what we're saying, why can't we develop something on a smaller scale for an astronaut or a spaceship?
Well, I'm thinking more of a spaceship.
Yeah. Well, that way, if you want to leave the ship, you know, you can have your own personal.
But my thinking is,
Unless you were...
we were thinking about this. We talked about this once before. Now you need people to have gravity. So now, what if you made a sphere that would rotate? Okay, so people could have gravity, and inside the sphere, there's another sphere.
So it's a type of Okay, so you're incorporating
right
artificial
into
gravity into your developing.
So you make a sphere with another sphere, tiny sphere in the middle that the big sphere rotates around.
Right.
So now you have
But the big sphere on the outside is your living quarters.
Yes, and that's where you get your artificial gravity, and plus now you get your magnetic core.
Yeah. Because if you've ever seen 2001: A Space Odyssey, they kind of use a spinning
Motion.
walkway so that you can, because as you spin something, it forces everything out. So you use that as an artificial gravity, because then it'll push you to the to the edges. But instead of the edges, will just be the floor. So.
Yep. So you'd basically be living on the edges of the spaceship.
Right.
So you could still walk, you could still do everything, exercise. It would just be a little less gravity, or even probably a little more, depending on how much you would have to produce.
Yep, you could alter that.
Yep. So now if you wanted to get a little bulky, crank up the amps a little bit.
And then you get like, God, this gravity is killing me.
2 times Earth gravity,
Yeah, that'd be kind of cool.
So
then you could slow it down too, and then you could jump around.
Exactly. I mean, you got something heavy to lift, you slow it down a little bit. Good thinking. Okay. So that's basically all we have for the ships.
Yeah.
I mean,
if we can get all that done, anything else is trivial.
Yeah. I mean, that would be the greatest parts of the ship that we need to do. Because that would conflict with some of the human stuff.
Yeah.
So, now speaking of the human stuff, what do we have?
Yeah. Well, if we didn't have all this radiation shielding, we would become, as they say, develop radiation sickness.
Yeah. Which they do have a drug for that will help us in that. It ain't a very good drug. It's still being tested.
It's called marijuana.
No. No, literally, they have a drug that you can take. No, any which ways. So radiation sickness would get us. So we need the radiation shields.
Right.
To protect us, because it will destroy our DNA, help cause cancer. God knows what else it does.
Basically, it just wants to destroy you.
Yeah. I mean, each time a gamma ray goes through your body, it destroys the nucleus of your cells.
Right, well, it's like a little, you can think of it as like a little mini bullet. It's going through you.
Yeah.
And it's just, tearing through you.
So, now aluminum does help defend against some of the cosmic rays.
Yeah, most metals will.
Well, denser metals will.
Right, denser metals will help deflect and slow down.
Yeah, so they don't hurt you as much.
That's why all that aluminum foam and all that.
Yeah, aluminum foam would help us quite considerably. So, another type of sickness in space.
What other sickness is there?
Space dementia?
Oh, yeah. See, that was the physical. Now we're getting to the mental.
Well, I mean, might as well just go on with the sicknesses we could get. So, space dementia, I really don't know much about this.
I just know that they made a few movies on it and how it makes you go insane.
I'm guessing it'd be like any isolation incidences, Up north in Alaska, they had a couple incidents where there were no one around. They're isolated. It's just a few people. And they go nuts. Literally, they go nuts.
Because the humans are very social-oriented people.
Not all of us.
Well, some of us.
Most of us.
Most of them. Yeah, the majority. The people that aren't, sociopaths, they like to kill people. So.
What? No. Okay, so any which ways.
Or they live up in the mountains by themselves.
But now, space dementia would probably be more than that. I mean, you're talking about killer on your body and on your mind.
Right.
So you're up in space.
Because you know that you're nowhere near anybody else.
Yeah, I mean, you had no contact with anyone. I mean,
maybe
barely.
Radio transmissions, I guess. But.
Video transmission, but come on. Who wants to, well, I guess in our society nowadays, talking to someone over a camera and that is, quite convenient, so we do it a lot.
Maybe that's the new cool thing now.
Well, yeah, so I guess it wouldn't be that big of a deal. But
it would be after a while because the loss of physical contact.
Well, it's not only loss of physical contact. You're talking about less gravity on your body now makes you prone to more illnesses. You're weaker. You're basically going to get depressed anyways.
Yeah.
Just on that behalf. And now you got no contact with anyone. No one's there to help you.
Yeah, and you thought Ham was already depressed.
Yeah. No, I'm not depressed.
I'm just kidding.
We just won't let Brian go into space.
Right. Unless he's got his 3 kids, or 4 kids.
4 kids. So, now, you already messed up in the head.
Yeah.
Because of all this sickness you're getting just because of your body. So now you're losing contact with people. You have no physical contact with people except maybe 100 people that's be on the crew and the ship if we build a big enough ship.
Right, you need to build a big one.
So maybe 100 people. Let's say we'll try and get 1,000 people going. Okay, you got 1,000 people. I guess that would be a little...
That would be, if you had that many, I think...
That'd be a little different. But you're talking about small living quarters then. Small space, you're confined. Someone's gonna go nuts. I'm sorry.
There's no pretty...
Yeah, there's no pretty picture in that.
Well, I was just say... you look out a window and you see a tree or something. Not in space. Just see a bunch of...
Yeah, but you see stars.
Yeah. But they can
Don't you look up at the night sky?
Oh, yeah, when I can. There's not a lot of light pollution out there.
So... Yeah, so space dementia is to get some people. I'm sure we could weed them out before they even get on the spaceship.
You could probably take a psych test to get those out of the way.
So that their sicknesses are the 2 main sicknesses. So I'm guessing what would be next? What's our next to overcome?
Well, you need to figure out how you're gonna get fed.
Oh yeah, food. Oh,
because
you want to eat on your journey.
There's not a lot of space on a spaceship for acres of, unless you build a giant ship, but that wouldn't be very efficient.
Well, that depends. It could be efficient.
I suppose.
I think if you go out in space far enough and build a spaceship out in space far enough, it could be very efficient.
I suppose it could.
But anyway, Trace.
But you still need a lot more propulsion because...
No.
If you had a giant ship, even in space, you'd still need to be able to push that thing.
Well, yeah. No, because there's nothing pushing against it.
I know what you're saying. I know you're right to a point,
anyway,
but I still think...
No friction.
Right.
So the bigger you make it, doesn't really matter. Nothing pushing against...
So you could, you could take a giant spaceship and just... In theory, stick your head out and just blow, and you can push a ship.
I'm assuming you probably couldn't, but the loss of...
You could blow it at the same speed
hold on. The loss of cabin pressure will push a ship.
No, I'm just saying, if you were to, let's just say...
No, I'm just saying, the loss of cabin pressure can push a ship off course.
Oh, I see.
So, I mean, they use hydrogen peroxide to push the ship of... the...
Isn't that what I clean my cuts with?
Hydrogen peroxide? Yes. They use hydrogen peroxide jets.
Because it produces oxygen, yeah.
Well, no.
Isn't that what the chemical...
Yeah, but what it is they use it for the propulsion system on the space station to push it back into orbit. Because it can be controlled burst.
Right.
So, if they can use that to push it, to keep it in orbit, I don't see the difference between that and anything else. I mean, you're talking about space which has no bearing on you whatsoever. No, I can't go like this and push it. I would probably be the one to move.
Right. Well, if you were on let's just say you had another spaceship and you're pushing another one. Could you move it?
I'm assuming you probably could.